everyone, this is Ryan Whitting, and you're listening to another episode of Rockin' You All Night, where we talk all things rock, all things metal, and all things with strings, and if you don't like it, then you must not rock. My guest this week is one of the greatest voices, guitarists, and songwriters ever. And I mean ever. Richie Kotzen, and we're coming to you from BLK Live in Scottsdale. So sit back, hold tight, and get ready for Rockin' You All Night. Head over to phoenixanddragon.us for all of your Phoenix and Dragon band needs. Keep up to date on the future of progressive symphonic heavy metal with Phoenix and Dragon's concert dates, interviews, videos, and MP3 downloads at phoenixanddragon.us. Be sure to download Phoenix and Dragon's latest single, The Four Fires, as heard on the Rockin' You All Night podcast on SoundCloud. Get t-shirts, band merch, and metal so heavy that it hurts at phoenixanddragon.us. You're listening to the two-time bench press champion, the trendsetter, the friend getter, the lyrical miracle, the poet who can smoke and joe it, the man who loves to chat about this or that, the host of Rockin' You All Night and Reacts Radio, Ryan Whitting. We are currently looking for advertisers and sponsors to keep our internet radio show and podcast free for our listeners. So if you have a product, a band, or a brand that you'd love to have hyped, contact me today so that I can play it, fillet it, saute it, and you better believe that I'll slay it. And if you want, I'll rhyme it, chime it, jingle it, Kris Kringle it, and I'll even hit single it. Don't hesitate to throw some numbers my way and be a part of the funnest podcast in the nation today by messaging me at Rockin' You All Night on SoundCloud and Instagram. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I have with me one of the best voices and guitarists in rock music ever.
Wow, that's something I wasn't expecting to hear.
Well, I don't lie on this show. A future Hall of Famer, Mr. Richie Kotzen, is gracing us with his presence. Richie, how are you, sir?
I'm pretty good. You know, I just came in, driving in from L.A. on the tour bus, and we left at 3 a.m. from Los Angeles, and got about 2 hours in. I was asleep because we left at 3 a.m., and the bus stopped. I figured we were here, and suddenly realized, well, hell, we're 2 hours out of California,
right?
Nowhere near where we're supposed to be, and so we had to wait till the sun came up, and then they came out with the parts, and the guy brought the wrong part for the bus, had to go back, get a different set of parts, put the parts on, got it repaired, and we had a 4.5 hour drive on top of that because we got some traffic. Actually, it was more like 5 hours, so we're late.
So did you have any 5 hour energy to get you here? How did you make it through all that without losing your mind?
I can tell you what I do with, I have a bedroom in the back. So, most of these buses have a back lounge. Mm-hmm. So what I do, because we're such a small, we travel light. It's just me and my band, which are two other guys, and then we have a tour manager and a stage manager, and then there's the driver. So it's a nice big bus, a lot of space. So I take the back lounge and I make that into a bedroom.
You say only two guys that you need with you because you're like
in the band. There's two in the band. The bass
and you're
player.
like a one-man band, though.
Well, no. I mean, no.
What can't
no.
you do? Yes, no.
Thanks to technology, I guess.
Yeah, dude,
I can overdub.
Seriously.
But I can't overdub Dylan Wilson and Mike Bennett, I'll tell you that.
Really?
You can't overdub those cats, no.
Not at all.
No, you'll see tonight.
Dude, I can't. I've been waiting for this show for months when they announced it. I'm like, I have to be here and I have to interview these guys.
Well, I have to confess something to you. So we did 45 days in Europe, and I came home, and I haven't touched the guitar, and I haven't sung a note since I got home on the 28th, 29th, or 27th. I don't remember which day it was, but it was one of those days of July. And what I've been focusing mostly on in that time is gardening.
Really?
Yep.
What's in the garden?
Oh, well, it's not a typical garden like as in tomatoes and this sort of thing and that sort of thing. I'm just planting basic vegetation.
So it's not an octopus's garden?
No, we live out in the mountains, and so it's kind of tricky. We're in a very interesting weather pocket because in the summer we get extreme heats, but in the wintertime the pipes will freeze. So they're wrapped, which most people don't realize, being in Los Angeles County, that it can get that cold. But because of where we are inside the canyon, we have to be very careful with what vegetation will actually survive. You would think, ficus trees would grow. I had ficus trees at my old property. They'll freeze. They'll die. And the ficus trees are a great hedge line, but I tell you, you put them out there in the canyon, and we're out there in the Lobo Canyon, and you put them in the canyon, and it will die in the winter. Palm trees, lovely to look at. You put a palm tree, the wrong kind. There's one actually that will withstand some cold weather, but the kind of palm trees that you and I are used to seeing will die.
Right.
And we see them all over the, Los Angeles, of course. But out in that little pocket, the weather, it gets really cold.
How did this love of gardening start? I didn't know any of this about you.
Well, that's not even. I know very little about it. It's just what I was doing in the off period.
Right.
So you have to understand something. The way I operate is I spend a lot of time on the road playing music, songs that I wrote. I spend time writing music. I have a studio set up in one of the rooms in the house to record the music. But every now and then I just feel like I need to get away.
Right.
I need a break, just to, hit the reset button, so to speak. Whoops, I tried to scratch. My eye was itching, and I didn't realize I was wearing glasses. Anyway, I hit the reset button, and then there you have it. But, the gardening, if it's not gardening, it's drywall. I bought this house 2 years ago. It'll be 2 years, September 9th. And, I love where I live, but I'm pretty handy with the tools and stuff.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
Figuratively speaking, too.
I gotta confess, those aren't my real teeth, and I came out here, and I haven't seen Vinny Moore in a really, really long time, and I've never met Gus G before, and I just had an incident in my neighborhood, and it was something crazy is happening in my neighborhood, and the neighbors are upset with this one thing that's happening. Something happened, and I put the teeth in, and I got involved. I got in the mix, but as with the teeth, which is a totally different personality from who I am. And so I thought, I haven't worn these in so long. I thought, well, I'm going to wear these when I come out and meet Gus and Vinny. So they don't know it yet. And I just went over there, and I was talking to them, and I was talking to Gus, and I was really kind of hiding it, but every now and then letting him see a flash and getting real close to his face, and they were looking at me like, oh man, what happened to Richie?
I saw him eyeballing the tobacco stains on there too. I was like, Red Man tobacco. Yeah.
Well, you believed it. You liked it, right?
I love it.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it, dude. It was phenomenal. I didn't know if you were going to take them out or stay in character.
Yeah.
So where does this comedian Richie Kotzen come from?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know where it comes from.
Years of watching Sanford and Son on TV?
I'll tell you something. I love stand-up comedy. I've never done it, but I have a really good friend in L.A.
Who? Because I know some of them.
His name's Jay, and he was on a TV show with Dane Cook.
Okay.
And but anyway, Jay has these comedy nights in L.A., and he invites me all the time. But I moved so far from the city now that I don't get to go as much as I used to. It's probably about the only thing that I miss from L.A. But anyway, I love going to the stand-up comedy. I would never do it. I don't have the balls to do it, but I think it's just a fascinating art form.
You could get on a roast battle and tear some of your contemporaries apart. I think would be
I don't
fun.
like roasting people. I'm not mean. I don't like to say mean stuff. I
Well,
just like to make people uncomfortable at my own cost, my own
with false
expense.
teeth and chewing tobacco in
that
it.
sort of thing.
Dude, that's phenomenal. Though.
Yeah.
Dude, you were telling me just before we started rolling that, and I don't believe this, you said that you were bad in English. I'm a former English teacher.
Oh, that's what I wanted to tell you. No. Okay, so when I was a kid, I was excellent in English.
Mm-hmm.
And it was I always had A's, nothing less than 95, whatever. Great,
Right.
And when I started using the computer and writing, and my handwriting was never good. When someone gives me a pen to write something, it's chaos. I forget how to spell. I depend on the auto spell, and I'm usually writing really quickly and emailing. And it kind of messed up my handwriting, Like I have a hard time writing stuff. I really do.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know why. I mean, I don't know if there's something wrong with me or something, but
It's surprising because the songs that you write are so.
well, no,
So-
I don't have an issue like with constructing, putting sentences together.
Handwriting, okay.
And understanding. I'm talking about handwriting. Yeah, I should have been clear. I know I don't have a problem at all with the English language, and I know a lot of words. But
All of
I know
which you
so
can
many
say on
words.
the show.
Yeah.
All of which.
But like that.
Dude, I'm mesmerized by your hair, and I had Richie Kotzen in character. You're doing a few dates with Vinny and Gus. What are you doing from here then? You're still on tour? Are you going to Europe? Are you going?
No. We already did Europe, and we already covered most of the United States. Not everywhere, but we did a couple of legs.
Okay.
Actually, technically, it's a small leg, but it's the third one we've done here since I put the last record out. We're going to go to New York in November. The 2nd, the 3rd, and the 4th, we're playing at Iridium.
Okay.
I don't know if you're familiar with that place.
not New York, no.
I think it used to be, it's a jazz room. I think Les Paul used to be there,
Okay.
involved in that. Anyway, we got 3 nights there, and then we're done for the year.
Okay.
I am booked on a one-off cruise with this lineup.
Monsters of Rock cruise, you're on it? Dude, I
Yes.
have to get in on that.
Yeah, go. You'd like it. And so but that's it. I'm really gonna not book any tours for a while because I want to stay home and fiddle around with my new house and see if I can electrocute myself. And then hopefully in that downtime I'll come up with some new ideas and write an album. And my goal would be to put a record out like sometime in June of next year.
Okay.
Because I know that I'm already being booked on a few festivals in Europe, so that would be a perfect way to kick off a new album cycle.
Hell yeah.
So that's kind of in the back of my mind, but I can't really control that because the songs come when the songs come. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm not in a hurry, and I'm not really worried about it. So.
I've heard, and I know sometimes it's hard for people to talk about themselves. I've heard when you go to Japan, and this is a shoot, I've actually heard this, that it's like Beatlemania.
It's not.
It's not.
No, and it never was for me. It's a weird thing. There's something happened where a lot of guys couldn't get record deals in the 90s, so they were getting record deals from other territories. What they would do is do licensing deals.
Okay.
I was one of them. I was signed to 2 major labels. I was signed to Interscope, and then I went to Geffen. And then right around that time, everything changed in the music business, and it was very difficult for me to find another major label. So I had a name for myself, so I started making my own records, producing them, recording them, and I would do licensing deals to foreign territories to get the record out, and Japan was one of them. And back then, Japan would actually fork over major label money for these records for a lot of us, a lot of people. So I did well in Japan. I would go over and play in front of, 1,000 people.
Right.
2 nights in Tokyo, I could sell out 1,000 a night in Tokyo. But I wasn't big. The Mr. Big was big.
Right.
Mr. Big would go there, that band, and they would play 3-4 nights in Budokan and sell it out. So they're big in Japan. But I was like a lot of the other guys that were just kind of trying to find their footing, who had a name, but were kind of going through it with the record companies in America. And then what happened is when the internet really got to the level that it is, guys like us were able to get our records out without a record company, and that was really, really cool because now I can make the music I want. All my people that are interested in me can get it, they can hear it, and so then things started to really open up. So I was able to go all over and tour, and South America became a big market for me. Europe became a strong market, and then the United States is going really, really well. I'm able to tour finally, yeah. And I think a lot of that has to do with me being fabulous. I hope, but no, in all seriousness, I think the Winery Dogs really helped that a lot because a lot of people knew my name, but they didn't know what it was that I really did. And I remember they'd come out and see the Winery Dogs, like, oh man, I didn't know you sing. And I'm like, well, I have 20 records out with me singing, and I do pretty well for myself. So singing as a singer, it's like I've made my living from writing my songs more than anything. Selling my records. So it was kind of shocking. It always hit me. It's like, really? Okay, well, now you know. And so, and it's great. So
So
my career's actually gone, if you can call it a career, it's actually been going up as I get older, which is good.
So who among us who's not Amish didn't know Richie Kotzen can sing? Seriously, dude. You have... I really, the intro that I gave you, one of the most, if not the most phenomenal voice in rock music to this day.
That's so nice. That's so sweet.
It's the truth.
Well, thank you.
And your DVD with Winery Dogs is like the best. Like the best of the best.
That was fun. We did was very funny. It was very interesting, funny. We filmed our first show we ever did, or maybe it was our second show, and made a DVD out of it.
That was the second show?
Yeah, I think it was the second show. Wow. And you can see, like, there's a couple moments where things get kind of discombobulated, where, like, I play the wrong song, and, I start a song that we don't even do in our repertoire because I forgot I wasn't playing in my band.
Yeah.
Because in my band, I would just start tunes because they know, like, 40 of my songs. So I would just not have a set list. So in the video, there's one point where I go to start a tune. I go to start a cover song, Sarah Smile.
Right.
And they don't know the tune. They never played it before. And I'm supposed to be playing Fooled Around and Fell in Love. And I stop. And so it's kind of, I think it's charming. And then the last show that we played, we filmed in Santiago, Chile.
No
so
kidding.
it's like these bookends,
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
Phenomenal. One of the things I want to go back to Japan just a little bit. This album here that you did, that.
Yeah, I'm not too fond of that album.
Why is that?
Well, I'll tell you why. You're talking about this. This was an idea that was presented to me by my booking agent at the time in Japan. Okay. All right, and they had booked 3 or 4, maybe 5 tours for me, and they said, we have an idea, something that we think would do very well for you and for us as a record company, because they were breaking into the record business. They had never put out records before. And their idea was to take this cartoon called Gundam, which is huge in Japan, and take the songs, which are very famous, and have an American person basically rewrite them.
Right.
And so that's what this record is. There might be 1 or 2 songs that I contributed, like an instrumental or something, to round it out. But these are songs that I had to somehow interpret. And like when you literally translate a song written in Japanese to English, it doesn't make any sense at all. And you have to read and try to read the sentiment of what they're talking about. So that's what I did on that record. And it was really difficult because I was dealing with a company that didn't know anything about creativity, and they didn't really understand anything about the record-making process.
Right.
So that kind of made my job miserable.
Oh.
But in the end, they put the record out, and we promoted it, and there are people that seem to like it. And I'm not saying it's a bad record or anything, but
it's just not yours.
My
per
time,
se.
What was happening in my life when I was doing this, I wanted to rip my hair out of my skull. Yeah.
Don't do that. The women will be jumping out the window if you do that. I just love the idea because I always wondered, like, were you a fan of Gundam?
I never knew about it. No.
Oh yeah,
no,
it's
never heard.
Phenomenal that you. One of the things, this CD here that you're gracious enough to sign, your Essentials album is 3 discs, 2 music, 1 DVD. The songs on there, dude, from start to finish, mind-blowingly great.
Oh,
Just
thank you.
phenomenal.
I picked the ones I wanted on there. And it's interesting. Can I look at this?
Absolutely.
'Cause I don't remember what I did.
The song "Walk with Me," I was playing that on the ride up here. Like, I probably repeated it like 5 times. That to me is one of the greatest pieces of music written.
Really, like
in the last. I can't compare it to anything.
I wrote that and War Paint at the same time.
That was the. They're both, dude. Those are like some of the best pieces of music I've ever heard, ever, of any genre. I love those 2.
Thank you.
You're playing at least one of those tonight, I hope.
Yeah, I think we do War Paint.
Okay.
We did play Walk With Me years ago, but I haven't played it since 2015, and I don't think I would make a lot of mistakes if I tried to play it
Really?
cold.
And you played on the DVD, and it's just phenomenal.
Well, then I knew it. We
Yeah.
rehearsed it, but I haven't listened to it or played it for a long time. So
had a song like "Walk With Me" come out in, let's say, 91, 92, how big do you think that would have been as a radio hit?
I think that a lot of my songs, not only Walk With Me, I think I have many, 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 many songs that could have done very, very well commercially had I been a part of the machine. There's a machine.
I've heard
there's gatekeepers and there's a machine in the music business, and that's really how it works. Because so many people ask me, well, why is that popular and this isn't, and this should be here and that should be there? Because you know, the people that decide, you know, are the people, are the gatekeepers in the business, and they can't force you to like something.
Right.
But what they can do is present you with something and sell it to you and make you aware of it, you know. And so you need that machine. Otherwise, you're just kind of out there. And thankfully, I've been able to kind of make this career by just, you know, doing the same thing over and over, just writing songs, making records, touring, write a song, make a record, tour, and it's been working for me, and it's great. So
When it wouldn't
I don't
have
feel
worked
like
had it
I
not
don't feel
been
like I'm really
quality,
missing
though.
much, you know? Huh?
It wouldn't have worked had it not been like quality.
Right?
The
Yeah,
quality
of course.
that you're putting out.
Anything has to be good.
At what point did you say I don't want to be part of the machine?
No, I would love to be a part of the machine. The machine didn't like me. I was a part of the machine when I was very young. I got signed to Interscope. I was moved from from Reading, Pennsylvania to LA by Interscope. I was playing football with Bruce Springsteen in Malibu on Jimmy Iovine's front lawn.
Wow.
He had me in his house when he invented this thing called Q Sound, just me and him playing it for me. I was in the machine, but the problem then was I was very, very young, and there was a huge gap between why the record label signed me and what they thought I could do and who I really was. And I'll never forget Mike Varney was the label, Shrapnel Records, I was signed to, and I was singing on my second record. And so it was Tom Wally signed me to Interscope, and Jimmy ran the company. And Jimmy called Varney and said, this kid's songs are great. He looks great. We got to find him a lead singer. And Mike Varney said, are you out of your mind? Like, where are you going to find a kid that can sing at this level that looks... Because they thought I looked cool back then, you know. I didn't have a gray beard and stuff like that. So I mean, and then after that, I got signed to Geffen, and it was more shenanigans there, like just completely disconnect. Like the A&R people said some of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my life to me. Like,
Such as?
Well, here's a real good one. I had on my original demo that got me signed to Geffen, and this is in '94. I had my, at the time, wife, now ex, sing background vocals on the demos because I wanted that kind of gospel-y, Bob Seger-y, Black Crowes-y kind of Rolling Stones background. All the bands I love have female background vocals. So a very, very, very famous producer comes to my house because I wanted to produce my own record. They wouldn't let me. So I had a meeting with Mike Klink, who produced Appetite for Destruction. And he said to me, he listened to the demo. He said, those background vocals sound very gospel-y. I'm like, yeah, I know. He goes, do you want that? And I'm like, well, obviously, I've recorded it that way. And he goes, well, I hear a female voice. Who is that? I said, oh, that's my wife. Oh, she's singing on the demo. I said, no, just backgrounds. You know, gang vocals, just her and I together on a mic. We multed it, we doubled it, quadrupled it to make it sound big. Oh, okay. So, well, that was a weird conversation. So I go into the meeting with my A&R guy, and he goes, you didn't tell me that your wife was singing on your background vocals on your demo. And I'm like, oh, well, I thought you could hear it, you know. And so, he goes, yeah, well, I'll tell you something. There will be no female singers on your record. You're making a rock record. There's no female singers that matter in rock. I mean, the guy went on a tangent, and in my mind, I'm like, whoa. I mean, at that moment, I'm like, I'm fucked because... like every band that I thought was cool had those kind of background vocals, and it was just like, and so I was constantly in the machine, but in the wrong side of it, pretty much. It was just really bizarre. And after a while, I just thought,
What goes on in their mind that they think that's a deterrent of album sales and popularity because you have an awesome sound? Like, how is this?
Because they don't listen with their ears, they listen with their eyes. So they look at me as a skinny, long-haired white kid that, sounds very soulful. They used to say, well, you sound too black. They said that to me a million times. You can't sound like, you shouldn't. Because in their mind, they look at me and they think, oh, I can sell him. And they wanted me to sound more like an 80s rocker. Well, by then, the 80s rock thing was dead anyway. So... and that's all that up until that point that these guys really knew until, you have some other younger A&R guys that kind of are hip and edgy and they realize that the times are changing, But it's just I got in with the wrong, and they were powerful people, very, very powerful people in both companies. But they never really, it's like they didn't listen to what I was doing. They looked at me and thought, okay, well, You know, the first time around, I was on the cover of Guitar World magazine. I was in the readers poll, and I had all this cool stuff. So the first time the record company bought my contract from the indie, they were looking at me as this kind of hard rock dude. They weren't even listening to the music I was writing. And then the second time around, I had just left Poison, so they weren't listening to the music again because they were thinking, oh, well, he was in a band that sold 15 million records, so we got to market to that base. And I'm like, no. You can't market to that base. We're marketing to a new base that never heard of me before, you know, because we're marketing me and my music. We're not, you know, it's like
and it's 93 or 94, not 87.
It was 94, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
like
you know, it was 90, 91, 92. It was 90 when I got signed to Interscope, and then 94 was when I was with Geffen. And then, I mean, I don't want to diss these people. They're smart people. They made a lot of money. I mean, both the people that signed me were hugely powerful and discovered huge bands. Big bands, like really big bands. So, you know, it was just the timing and me and everything. It was just, you know, they said the right place at the right time was like, you know, it was the opposite of that.
Well, and you're still
but
here.
But I'm fine, man.
Yeah.
I live in a beautiful house. I got a beautiful car, beautiful wife, beautiful life, so I'm not complaining.
And you're still here. You're still killing it. Like I say, your music to this moment is just phenomenal, mind-blowing. I really mean that. I know time is short. Yeah. I have a segment. It's called This or That. Everyone's been stealing it from me. Usually I have like 8 or 10 questions. I just want to give you 2. So I just give you 2 things. You choose this or that.
All right.
All right. The song Stand.
Yes.
Or the song Walk by Pantera.
I don't know the song Walk by Pantera.
Okay. So you're choosing?
Stand by who?
Who do you think?
Sly and the Family Stone. I would have to say that.
All right. Why is that?
Oh, because I love Sly and the Family Stone. One of my favorite groups.
All right.
I love R&B and soul and rock.
What was
rock when it's mixed together.
Higher was the song that I know. Is that Sly and the Family
I won't
Stone?
take it higher. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's. I believe that was the thing. It's weird the things that I know. I believe that became the formula for how Kiss wrote Rock and Roll All Night.
Yeah.
The fact checkers can.
Interesting.
Check with me on that. All right, last question. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right, so this is the toughest one.
All right.
Ryan Whitting, the host of this show.
That's you.
That's me.
Right.
Or giving up and quitting.
Oh, that's an easy one. You, of course.
Why is that?
Who wants to give up and quit? What fun is that?
My point exactly. Richie, it has been so awesome to have you here. I can't wait for your show tonight.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for all the years of just phenomenal music. Thank you for this interview, and just keep doing what you're doing. You're still kicking ass. I love
these
this.
videos you make. Are they going to live? So I can I go back? Can I go back and watch them?
Hell yeah!
Just to make sure I didn't say anything insulting or hurt anybody's feelings.
We're gonna plaster. I'm gonna spread it all over like peanut butter. It's going everywhere.
Good.
I will tag it. Who's in charge of your Instagram? I'm getting it all out there on Instagram.
Me?
All right, so I'm going to tag you.
Sometimes Julia gets a hold of it.
I'm going to tag you on everything that we do here, and you do what you do with it. I litter things with the music that I love. So thank you for being on Rockin' You All Night, where we talk all things rock, all things metal, and all things with strings. And if you don't like it,
then you must not rock.
Aren't you going to sing it?
Then you know, no, I guess not.
There you have it, another episode of Rockin' You All Night. Be sure to follow Rockin' You All Night on YouTube, SoundCloud, Facebook, and Instagram. The music on this episode is provided by Phoenix and Dragon. To download Phoenix and Dragon songs, go to phoenixanddragon.us. Follow Richie Kotzen on Instagram and go to richiekotzen.com for all of your Richie Kotzen needs. And be sure to check out blkliveaz.com for all of your BLK Live concert calendar needs. We'll see you when the sun shines again. Until then, follow along, leave comments, click like and subscribe, and remember, we've only just begun. Head over to axehandler.com. Lean your guitar anywhere and carry your guitar support stand everywhere with the Axe Handler. The Axe Handler is the premier American-made portable guitar stand in the world today. Head over to axehandler.com so you can make sure that your guitars never go slip-sliding away again. That's axe-handler.com. Head over to axehandler.com. Lean your guitar anywhere and carry your guitar support stand everywhere with the Axe Handler. The Axe Handler is the premier American-made portable guitar stand in the world today. Head over to axehandler.com so you can make sure that your guitars never go slip-sliding away again. That's axe-handler.com. Hi everybody, this is Ryan Whitting, the host of Rockin' You All Night and R.Y.A.N Radio. People have said to me, Ryan, what's causing all this shaving and misbehaving? And I tell them, it's all about the Dollar Shave Club. With the Dollar Shave Club, you can get started with a month's worth of the best 6-blade razors and a handle for as low as $1. Or try one of their starter packs for as low as $5. Now those are some prices that you can't beat for some blades that'll keep you looking neat. All you have to do is look at my bio on the Rockin' You All Night podcast on SoundCloud and hit my Dollar Shave Club link so that you can keep your jawline looking lean, mean, and clean like mine.